It's a tough one today.
Yeah, definitely a heavy one.
We're looking into a story out of Aruba, a really heartbreaking one, actually,
Right.
about a 3-year-old boy who drowned.
Yeah,
And you sent over a couple of articles for us to look at.
I did.
One from maznatisha.com and another one from 24a.com,
Uh-huh.
both covering this same incident.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where things get a little bit
Interesting.
murky
Yes.
because they don't seem to fully agree on the location.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what makes this one, I think, a little more interesting to kind of dig in.
Like, where did this actually happen?
Yeah.
So we have one article saying that it happened at an apartment complex in Mokoko,
Right.
but then the other article saying it happened at Park Aruba, which is a public park.
Right.
So right off the bat, we've got this
Discrepancy that we need to unpack. And I think it's a really important one to sort of start with, because if we don't know for sure where this happened, it raises questions about how information is being shared.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it could even have implications for, emergency response procedures and things like that.
And just for safety in general in Aruba, that's a big part of what we're going to be looking at here.
Absolutely.
But we also have some other articles that you sent
Yes.
that I think will tie into all of this.
Yeah, these are all from Maznatisha and Akali. They're about other recent pool incidents in Aruba. And that's why I thought it would be a good deep dive to kind of go through all of these and see if we can figure out if there are any patterns or any issues in terms of safety and awareness and things like that.
Yeah. It seems like this, unfortunately, is not an isolated incident.
No.
So let's start with the details of this case that we know,
Okay.
at least according to Maznatisha. A 3-year-old boy was found unresponsive in a swimming pool at an apartment complex in Milko. And tragically, even though paramedics and doctors tried to revive him, he was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Right. And so 24 Aurora, the other article, mentions Park Aruba as the location.
Right.
As opposed to the apartment complex.
Yeah.
So it's like, is one of the articles outdated? Or was there confusion about like nearby landmarks or something?
Right.
Or could this be a sign of a bigger problem with how they collect and report information about emergencies?
I mean, is it possible one of the articles was just like not fact-checked very well?
That's possible.
Or maybe there's something else going on here. It's almost like we're trying to solve a mystery.
Yeah, it is. And it makes you wonder about, how reliable this data is when we try to understand the problem as a whole. And also, I think about the safety measures in place.
Right.
Like, if it's a private apartment complex versus a public park, who's responsible? What kind of precautions should they have?
Yeah, that's a good point. So, like, if it did happen at the park, do we know if there are lifeguards at Park Aruba? Is the pool fenced in? I don't know.
Yeah. And if it was at the apartment complex, what are the rules in Aruba about pools at private residences?
Right, exactly. Do they have to have fences, signs? Like, what are those standards?
Right.
Okay, so we've got this puzzle.